All right. I am here with Gabriel Varga. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome. And first question is, or first want to say thank you for coming on the show today. What got you into karate at such a young age was my main question.
Oh, that was my father. He just had been involved in martial arts, not really as a competitive fighter, but he'd been involved for probably a good like 15, 20 years. And he just wanted us to be safe, basically, as a
Okay.
parent. Yeah, as a parent, he wanted
Yeah.
us to be able to defend ourselves if the need ever came, to have the self-confidence that martial arts creates for you. And yeah, my younger brother, he's 2 years younger than me, or we were basically told you're going to get your black belt, and it just turned
Yeah.
into something that I really loved.
Yeah. I tried to get into karate at a young age, and I just to stop my brother from beating me up. So I got a like I didn't get into it for too long, and then I got into boxing. So, but I definitely wish I got into karate more. So,
Yeah, that's what
um,
most adults I talk to, they seem to say that they're like, oh, if I could have started earlier. So I always try to just get your kids
yeah,
into martial arts. It's a great thing for them.
yeah, it's I want to get my daughter into it for sure. Like just even jujitsu, something like that for her, I think would be great. I think every kid now should definitely have a background. I don't know if that's what you would think.
I definitely would agree.
Yeah. What made you switch to boxing from karate?
It was just a very slow transition. We were into point fighting karate, and then we wanted to try something a little harder because things were going really well on that. So we ended up doing some. It's called light contact continuous, and the light contact continuous at some point turned into a little bit harder semi contact, and then just it was just a slow progression. Basically, like I think literally over 8 years. It was an 8 year transition.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
yeah, I had all the time in the world, right? Pretty much because
Yeah.
I think I stopped point fighting when I was about 12. And I'd already been doing it for so long then. So, and I didn't have my first full ring fight until I was 20. So yeah, it was just little
Oh
steps in between.
yeah. You've won many titles, as we can see in the background. Is there a fight or a title that means the most to you in your career?
I'd say I have three. Yeah, three. I had my first big sort of fight, my big break against Lordzilla, and he's still
Yeah.
recognized as a super accomplished, like the most evasive
Yeah.
champion. So beating him was special. My first glory belt win over Mosa
Yeah.
Bamani, and then beating Kevin Ross for the Bellator belt. Those three are the highlights for me.
I definitely agree. And that brings me to a great question I was curious about. So you fought for many companies like Glory, K1, and Bellator Kickboxing is kind of new. Is there one that is a favorite to you?
Oof. I mean, like you said, as Bellator kickboxing, it's just really a little side thing to
Yeah.
their business. It's just something they do, I think, really just for fun and a passion project. So
Yeah.
the kickboxing part is very small, but being a part of Bellator is really really fantastic. Just they treat everybody really well. The
Yeah.
events are just spot on with the production and the way they're put on. So
Yeah.
I really like being involved with them. But then also being with Gloria at first. I mean, it wasn't run the way that Bellator is run. It wasn't the same company, but it was very exciting at the time. So both of them
Hmm.
for me had their amazing elements. It's really hard to pick one just based on Glory was the first big promotion I went with, and now Bellator is just an amazing promotion in general. So they're both great.
From what I've heard, like even talking from other fighters, like it's really surprising the aspect of how well Bellator is being looked at. Like it's like Scott Coker is doing something really well over there. Like even compared to the UFC, like
Hmm.
I just see nothing but praise for how that guy is running the business.
Yeah, he
So
treats. I think that's just basically the fighters recognize that he treats everybody well. His whole team is very happy. They're very
hmm
nice people. Even from when you just picked up at the airport, you just feel like, oh, I'm just going to a buddy's house or something. They're very hands on with you, and you don't feel isolated from them. And they always say, even the guys who work there, we're like that just comes from working with Scott. He just he
yeah.
does it with us, and then we do it to you guys, and it's just a trickle effect. So it's nice to hear.
And he came in with nice experience, right? He did own Strike Force, if I'm correct.
I don't know if he owned it or if he was the guy who ran it. I'm not sure what the circumstances were, but yes, he was the guy at the head of that.
Yeah. Did you have a fight lined up before the COVID happened, or was there one that you were looking forward to? I did see a post on your Instagram that you had two you were looking for or you wanted.
Yes.
Is there a fight that you really want in the future or next?
Yeah. So the rematch with Kevin Ross is something that a lot of people, because I got such a fast finish over him, they're saying, oh, it's not really necessary, but he really wants a rematch. And I just like to fight guys who are just, notable named opponents now. So a rematch with him is high on my list. And then I've only had ever one opportunity to fight Saenchai, and that was so long ago. The money was so small, and I just went, this is ridiculous. I've never fought Muay Thai. They want me to fight the best guy in the world for like $3,000. So if there's any way to make that happen, I'll see if I can make it happen this year or next with Bellator, because they have at least the money to get Saenchai in there.
That'd be awesome. And they're really good at bringing other opponents too from other organizations, which I really love. Like even teaming up with Risen. Is that something? Would you ever go to Japan or fight in Risen through a cross promotion?
Of course. I actually got offered a fight in Ryzen before my first MMA fight, and I just turned it down because I went, I don't want to have done all that prep for that MMA fight and then just abandon it last minute, because a kickboxing fight would be easier, most likely. So I just decided to stick with the MMA fight. But yeah, in the future, if it comes up again, I would love to do that, because I fought in Japan once, and a second time would be great too.
Yeah, I hear awesome things about fighting in Japan. It's got to be fun.
Of course.
Now, you you switched over from karate to kickboxing. Now you're going to MMA. I personally thought you won your last fight. Is that a rematch you'd want too?
I would do a rematch, but I have a feeling it wouldn't. I mean, if it was something like somebody's going, oh, you have to have a rematch to make this your career. Basically to move on in your career, I would do it. But I do like to put on good fights, and I don't think the fight will be any different, aside from the fact that I would have to really, really train for that grindy sort of against the cage fight, and I'd have to figure out how to knock him out by avoiding all that kind of stuff, because it wasn't an exciting fight. He did a great job neutralizing all my striking, which is fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I would take it. But if somebody else said, you know what, we don't really need that rematch, let's move on to another fight, we'll have more exciting bout for the fans and for Bellator, then I would say, you know what, let's just do that. So,
was the transition hard from kickboxing to MMA? Like, is the whole wrestling a little bit different? Is the striking a lot different?
Yeah, honestly, I just jumped into it because the Bellator kickboxing it's not a busy schedule. And I have two options. I either fight in China for other kickboxing promotions, or I can try this MMA thing. And I still feel like an absolute novice at the wrestling, at the ground game. I have so much to learn. So the transition is very difficult. I can put the kickboxing gloves on now and hit the bag without. I've hardly hit the bag at all. Done any kickboxing. I could jump in and spar with the best in the world right now and have no problem. But yeah, MMA, there's blue belts who can tap me out all day long. The wrestling, it's a little easier because the clinch somehow sort of relates. But still, I would get schooled by anybody who's good in wrestling. So yeah, it's a very hard transition.
Yeah, it's straight. Yeah, it's definitely hard.
It's nice.
Is there a fighter you looked up to growing? You were like Anderson Silva, Tyrone Sprung, someone like in that, like Crow Cop? Is there someone that you looked up to growing up?
Yeah, I watched all the K1 Max videos, and all those guys who were the champions there were the sort of the idols that I had. So that's going back, it's 2003 to, I'd say 2008 was when that was really popular. So it was Masato, Bukaw, Andy Sauer, and Albert Kraus. Those were all the guys that I I picked away, watched their technique, and sort of added and implemented strategies they had into my game, and then you just make your own style. But yeah, those guys, I still keep track of them.
Yeah. And the fighting schedule, it seems like in kickboxing, there's a lot more. It's like you got to fight a lot more fights, and they're not even that old.
Yeah,
It's just crazy. It's a crazy sport. And for this weekend, could I get a couple predictions for three of the fights, or if you're going to be watching it?
Oh geez, let me just rack my brain here. We have the Cruz fight. So I have to refresh my memory which ones there are.
I'm going to ask you about. Actually, I'll give you a 4 because there is one that I want to start on the prelims, and that would be Pettis versus Cerrone rematch, but this time at welterweight.
Oh geez, that's a hard one. I mean, just personally, I know a lot of people won't like it, but I like Pettis more just because of his fight style. So I don't really. If somebody said like gun to your head, who's going to win? I'd be like, I mean, I have no idea. But I like Pettis more. Like his striking style is more kickboxing based, so I'm going to go with him.
And we do have in the main event we do have Justin Gaethje versus I'm having a brain fart. Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes there's so many fights, especially this weekend. It's like I can't wrap my head around.
So many fights coming up. I mean, I could go with Tony Ferguson on this one just because he is just an odd dude. Fighter. I think not even just an odd fighter, just an odd individual, and I think it just works for him, and he has something that's special. And I mean, Justin does too. I mean, he has so many interesting elements to him, but Tony Ferguson is just an odd dude, and I just think it works for him. And I'm looking forward to seeing him fight. And I mean, maybe we'll never see him fight Khabib, but if we ever get to, that would be pretty awesome.
I personally think he's a horrible matchup for Khabib. I think he is the one to beat him. I think I think his sweeps and everything off the back would cut up Khabib. It would just be bad for Khabib. And a lot of people agree with me. A lot of people don't. But, I would just wish it happened. I wish it was this weekend, but
I know that's just the most evasive fight ever. Holy smokes.
Yeah. My last question for you is would you fight in COVID if Bellator somehow got that pass like UFC did?
I would. I mean, just based on the fact that even in my last fight, it was the end of February, and kind of think that during that time, I mean, they had a bunch of cases that popped up down where we were. I think just a week or maybe like 10 days after I was down there. So who's to say it wasn't already around there?
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to be cavalier because I know a lot of people are struggling. But is it something that personally, for my personal health, that I'm very, very concerned about? It's not. I do have somebody in the house here with me, my mother, who has had pneumonia, and it is a concern for her. So obviously everybody's being very safe. But yeah, if Bellator came and said, you know what, there is a small risk, you go out into public and you have to travel. Are you concerned? Will you fight? I would fight. Yes. And then obviously I would follow protocol, and I would come back and I would isolate for 14 days to be safe, make sure I'm not passing it around the community if I got it. But no, I can understand why a lot of people are concerned, and I can understand why people give Dana some grief. But the fighters, I bet you love him right now. They're like, we love the opportunity to fight in this. And I mean, I might miss out on my next fight. It would probably be in June, July, August, somewhere in there. So yeah, I might miss out on one. But I have heard that Bellator is talking about doing a closed door event at some point if they can make it happen. But Scott Coker's trying to be very, very safe, and his priority is everybody's safety. So I don't think he'll go ahead the way that Dana does unless they have everything really secure.
Yeah, all their stars aligned. Dana's really fighting for it, which the fight fans are definitely going to love him. And this is what we need. We need something. We're all going crazy. It'll just, I think it'll be great, and people are going to appreciate it if everything goes good. So if we don't get any cases, of course.
Yes.
So I think the backlash is going to be more 2 weeks after the event of people going, are they following procedures and stuff? And then they'll go, okay, did the great.
Yeah. If everything goes well, hopefully it'll open up the doors for other promotions, and we can get back to, like you said, at least events with no fans, and giving people something to watch at home.
I agree totally. I really appreciate your time today.
Of
It
course.
was great talking to you, and I can't wait for your next fight, kickboxing or MMA. And I hope to keep in touch for sure.
Perfect. Thank you so much for contacting